Okay, people will be trickling in. Well, hi everyone. It's so good to see so many of you, and I see so many familiar faces. We are so excited that you are here. And I just want to welcome you to the finale of our Fall 2024 Jammy Career Panel. This is our November special edition event, and our topic is to doctorate or not to it. And this is an opportunity to really hear from our speakers as you discern whether or not the doctoral pathway is right for you. And if so, which doctoral pathway, the PsyD, the EDD, or the PhD. So you'll have an opportunity to hear from multiple perspectives to support you with your own decision-making process. My name is Yas Hardaway, and I'm the Executive Director of Career Services at GSEP and teach in the online psychology program. And this program is a partnership between our GSEP Career Services and Alumni Relations teams. So some of you may be wondering, what is Jammy? So if this is your first time, Jammy is a Swahili term for community, and our Jammy Communities of Practice programs are really designed to provide up-to-date labor market information about the fields of education and psychology, as well as to help you expand your network at Pepperdine. In the fall, we host our Jammy Career Panels, which are moderated Q&A sessions. And in the spring, we host our Jammy Career Chats, which are breakout room conversations. But this special edition is different because it's putting both types of programs together, which is why it's 90 minutes for those who are able to stay for the full duration. We will have a brief panel Q&A and then go into breakout rooms, and you'll have an opportunity to go into 2 different breakout rooms to hear from multiple perspectives. All right, so let me briefly just go over the agenda before we go into introduction. So I'll briefly cover our learning outcomes, some housekeeping items, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague who will invite the panelists to introduce themselves and ask a couple questions to get us started. And then we'll go into our breakout rooms. And as I mentioned, you'll have 2 opportunities to hear from 2 different breakout room conversations. Then we'll come back together in the main room and share a few resources that we think might be helpful or relevant, and then also reveal what is next. So our learning outcomes are really based on our vision. Our vision at GSEP Career Services is that every graduate would have the clarity, the confidence, and the community to access, thrive in, and transform the future workplace. So what we hope that you get out of our session today is more clarity about the next step in your career planning, more confidence about your abilities to successfully move forward towards your career objective, and to also, as I mentioned earlier, connect to a broader community of industry professionals from Pepperdine. So some housekeeping items. This part of the program will be recorded, but the breakout rooms will not be. And then following our session, we will post the recording to our participant drive, which my colleague Franya will put in the chat, as well as on GSEP's YouTube playlist. I encourage you, if you'd like to use a live transcription that is provided, so please feel free to do so. And then I also encourage you, if you are able to change your name using the rename tool to first and last name so that we know who's in the room. In our Jammy Communities of Practice participant drive that you'll see in the chat, you will not only see the recording in the future, but you'll also see the speaker lineup. So you'll have an opportunity to look at the different breakout rooms and to see which speakers are representing each of the different breakout rooms. I also encourage you throughout the program to add your questions and comments in the chat, because we would love to hear from you. Okay, so now let me please turn it over to my colleague and friend, Dr. Renee Dorn, who's also an alum of our doctoral program. And Dr. Dorn will be introducing the panelists. Dr. Dorn?
Thank you so much, Yaz, and welcome everyone to our to Doctorate or Doctorate Jammy session. We have so many alums that will be joining us today that you can hear from with different backgrounds. So you can get a really good idea of maybe a path that you would like to take. So at this time, I'm going to introduce all of our alum speakers for today. And as I'm introducing them, if they could come up as the different pathways that they will be put into the breakout rooms. So the first two alums are Dr. Farah Kalegi Eisenman and Dr. Melissa Wasserman. Welcome to both alums. Hello, Dr. Wasserman.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
And hello, Dr. Kalegi.
Hello, afternoon. Thank you for having me, everybody.
Yes, yes. So both of you have your PsyDs. And so I would like for everybody to know, one, what are you currently doing in your careers?
Well,
We'll start with Dr.
not
Wasserman.
only do we both have our PsyDs, we both have our PsyDs from Pepperdine, and we graduated the same year. So we are just we're together on this one.
We are.
Right in tune with one another.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dr. Wasserman, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I am an assistant professor of psychology here at Pepperdine's Graduate School of Education and Psychology. So in my role here, I teach in the master's and doctoral programs. I also co-direct the Union Rescue Mission Pepperdine Mental Health Clinic out on Skid Row at the Union Rescue Mission. I also direct the Trauma Risk and Resilience Lab here as well. And I'm also a licensed clinical psychologist, and I have a small private practice in the Los Angeles area.
Gulp. Very impressive. Very impressive. Hi, everybody. I currently am in a private practice. I do individual couples and family work. I do a fair bit of consultation. That ranges from consultation with psychologists, social workers, marriage family therapists who are needing support in the work that they do. And I also do consulting for institutions. So revamping their drug education program, giving guidance on mental health awareness, improving resources, tools, intervention, improving the communities, whether that's at a local school or a medium to small business. And I'm also doing consulting on a television show. So I have a wide range of consulting specialties. My background is in corrections. I worked at LA County Jail in downtown Los Angeles. I worked with veterans. And after getting licensed, I ran a dual diagnosis residential treatment facility for 4 years. So I have a little bit of everything from the private to public sector. And today I'm strictly in my private practice doing therapy and consulting.
That's gulp too. So both Dr. Kalegi and Dr. Wasserman have a lot of great information, a wonderful background. So if you are interested in hearing more about both of them and their backgrounds and their pathways with the PsyD, make sure you go into that PsyD pathway breakout room. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Wasserman and Dr. Kalegi, and we will see you in the breakout rooms. All right, next we have our PhD in psychology pathway. And so we also have two alums, Dr. Melissa Hoy and Dr. Natasha Tapar Olmos, in other words, Dr. T.O. So welcome to both of you. Tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing in your careers. We'll start with Dr. Hoy.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm pleased to be here. And I'm trying to make sure that I include everything. I think the last two presenters did a great job of a really a comprehensive view of what they've been doing. So starting back, I have a history of beginning at university-based medical centers at UCLA and running a neuropsych clinic there. So I'm a licensed clinical psychologist specializing in neuropsychology. So I'm also somewhat of a unique neuropsychologist, and I don't know too many of my colleagues that also, along with my neuropsych training, all through from practicum to internship to fellowship, have also always had a clinical track. So I've always been doing therapy kind of on the side all throughout. So I say that because I've ran neuropsych clinics, and I do have a part-time private practice where I also do the same. So I have therapy clients, and then I also do neuropsych assessments, and I do consultations with school districts and also medical legal cases. So that's kind of my hat there. I'm also a long time, not only alum of Pepperdine, but been teaching at Pepperdine for many, many years. Was part-time at the Irvine campus, and now I've been full-time for several years with our online psychology program. I'm a clinical assistant professor and also one of our assistant directors for our program. And I also have the privilege of doing some research, which throughout my career sometimes has taken a bigger piece of the pie of my time and commitment, and sometimes smaller piece, but I've always enjoyed being able to integrate that as well.
Wonderful. That's a lot, Dr. Hoy. That's a lot that you're working on. Dr. Tio.
Sure, thank you. I should start by clarifying I don't have the honor of considering Pepperdine to be an alum of Pepperdine. I actually got my degree in psychology from my graduate degree from UCLA, and before that at USC. But I've been here for 11 years, and so maybe I can claim some some honor as an alum of our teaching faculty anyway. So I'm a full-time faculty member here as well. I teach courses in the PsyD program. My PhD is in clinical psychology, and I trained at a program that was very research focused, but I really love teaching in our PsyD program. I also serve as research coordinator, where I oversee our dissertation policies and procedures, and am a member of the PsyD program executive committee, which sort of is charged with running the program and also integrating student feedback and looking at program improvements. I also do research. My research interests are pretty varied, but they all fall under the overall umbrella of multicultural psychology. I'm specifically interested in Asian and Asian American mental health, with an emphasis on South Asian communities as a South Asian person myself. Prior to my current role in the PsyD program, I oversaw the online master's programs in psychology for a few years. And before that was teaching in our on-ground master's program. So I've had the opportunity to teach in different modalities and different degree programs at Pepperdine. I also am a licensed psychologist, so I have a small private practice. And gosh, what else is there? Where I see adults, I work from a generalist background. And I'll also briefly mention my own clinical training experiences in case that's of relevance for those of you who will be choosing your breakout room. I have worked as a clinician in a number of settings, including college counseling, medical centers, correctional facilities, and community mental health. So I really had an interest in working with populations with severe and persistent mental illness. And so that characterizes much of my clinical background. And I think I've covered everything.
That's a lot, Dr. Tio. That's quite a bit. So if any of you are interested in hearing more about the pathway to a PhD in psychology, please join Dr. Tio and Dr. Hoy in their PhD in psychology pathway breakout room. Okay, thank you both. Thank you so much. And so now, moving on to the next pathway, which is the LMFT pathway. And we have two more alums, Mia Pearson and Adrian Rodriguez. So welcome, Mia and Adrian.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hello,
Thank
hello.
you.
So I'm going to start with you, Adrian. Give us a little bit about your background and tell us what you're doing today in your career.
Sure. Yeah. Glad to be here. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and right now what I'm up to is working at the meditation company Headspace as a therapist. So I've been there for a couple years, and prior to that have been working in the nonprofit field, whether that be outpatient or residential. So it's been quite a great mix of experiences and also working towards building my private practice in addition to Headspace. So it's an exciting journey for sure.
Very nice, very nice. We can hear more about how you built your private practice. So that's good to know. Mia, hello, welcome. Tell us a little bit about your
Hello,
background.
hello.
Yes.
Well, I like to call myself a community mental health lifer. Most of my work clinician, obviously licensed marriage and family therapist, so got those 3,000 hours. I know all about it. I've gone from that to a clinical supervisor, working in program management with unhoused folks down there on Skid Row. I love my peeps. Right now, I'm currently working as a professor at Pepperdine. So some of you may have had me or may have me as an adjunct faculty. And also, I'm currently a clinical director right now at an agency where we house transitional age youth that are formerly unhoused. And also, I have a runaway homeless youth shelter for minors, ages 12 to 17. So I oversee all the clinical operations in that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Adrian. And if you want to hear more about their pathway through the LMFT, please join that LMFT pathway breakout room so you can hear more about their stories as well. All right, next we have the GSEP PsyD program pathway. Yasmin Yadari.
So Yasmin will be joining at 12:45. So
Alrighty.
people who are interested in learning more about Yasmin, her, not just her pathway, but her role in the selection process of the PsyD program, and just hear some tips, that would be a great breakout room to go to.
Excellent. Thank you, Yaz. And next we have the EDD pathway, and we have Dr. Clarence Caldwell. Welcome, Dr. Caldwell.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Give us a little bit about your background, Dr. Caldwell.
Yeah, it's tough to, it's tough talking about yourself. I like to focus on others, and this is part of what I do for a living in terms of helping leaders become greater leaders. And one of the aspects of that is to focus on their people and not themselves. So this is a little bit of a challenge for me, but I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. I like to say I started out, even though this isn't the beginning of my life, I started out as a homeless man living on the streets, and ultimately found myself working for a company, a telephone company, and over time worked my way up through the executive ranks and found myself as a senior vice president of some of this country's largest companies. So I like to say I went from the breadline to the boardroom. And when I left because there was still something missing. And it was the real work that I'm doing today in helping others find their path. So I'm glad to be here to lend that assistance wherever I can. And part of that revelation for me was to go back to school and get my doctorate. And so going back to Pepperdine to do that was a real eye-opener for me, because I have my EDD in organizational leadership and ethics. And after 20 plus years in the corporate life at the executive level, I thought I knew it all. But I realized that it was such a great help to get that degree, and it's helped my business tremendously as well. After defending my dissertation, the dean came to me and asked if I wanted to teach. So I did a little bit of adjunct professorship there at Pepperdine as well. The business is thriving, and I'm having a great time doing what I love.
Give us the name of your business.
It's called True Life Enterprises.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Caldwell. So if you would like to hear more about Dr. Caldwell's pathway through the EDD program, please go to the EDD pathway. All right, for the breakout room. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Caldwell.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have the PhD in Global Leadership and Change pathway with Dr. Michael Fountain. Hello, Dr. Fountain.
Hello, how are you? How are you?
Doing great, doing wonderful. Tell everybody a little bit about your background and what you're currently doing today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Michael Fountain. I am a 2023 graduate of GSEP at Pepperdine, earning a doctorate in global leadership and change. So I'm currently a fellow at Colin Powell Leadership Institute. And there I'm involved in like hands-on projects and simulations addressing real-world issues, specifically tailored to national security. And is designed to cultivate leadership skills grounded in resilience and service through research and policy. I am also a chief of staff at American Flood Coalition, where I play a key role in like driving strategic initiatives and fostering organizational learning and executive oversight.
Thank you, Dr. Fountain. Now, are you also a veteran?
I am a veteran
Yes,
over
thank
a
you for your
decade.
service.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for your
much.
service. So if you want to hear more about Dr. Fountain and the PhD in Global Leadership and Change pathway, make sure you go to his breakout room. All right, so these are our speakers for today. And if you are interested in any of those pathways, you have an opportunity to join a pathway for either the first or the second breakout sessions. You have two different sessions that you can join, and you have lots of choices. So if we can, I'm going to go ahead and pass this on to Yaz. So maybe we can get ready to open up the breakout rooms and start asking our alums some questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Dorn. So many different perspectives represented. Some of you may already have commitment anxiety and want to attend all the rooms. I know I do. But I encourage you to think about what question you're sitting with as you plan your next step, and perhaps which information would be most helpful for you in your process. So, as Dr. Dorn mentioned, there are different breakout room options, and after the first one, we'll signal you to change rooms if you'd like to hear a different perspective. And so just to share a little bit about the breakout rooms, we encourage you to look at the speaker lineup, and the speakers are organized by the different breakout rooms, which represent different perspectives or pathways, and you get to choose your own adventure. So once the rooms are opened up, you can choose which breakout room you go into. Again, if you are able to, we do encourage you to keep your camera on. I think it allows for maybe a more personal connection. And it's an opportunity for you to ask the questions that you've wanted to ask. So there's some sample questions here that we'll provide for you in the chat, but you're also welcome to ask your own. I encourage you to just share space with others. Everyone may be coming with their own questions, and we want people to have an opportunity to ask their questions. So using the raise hand feature may help us prioritize questions so that we can get to as many as possible. So without further ado, let me ask Franya, are we ready for the breakouts? Okay, great. So if you have trouble going into the breakout room, you can stay in the main room and we'll send you to your respective breakout. Otherwise, click on breakout and you can go into your room and we'll signal you when it's time to switch. All right, welcome back, everyone. I heard some great conversations in there. I would just love to hear from two people, one new insight you gained today to help you clarify your next step. From two people.
I'll say something.
Ashley, do it.
Even after many years of being licensed, even after being licensed 15, 20 years, you never stop being a student. You never stop obtaining knowledge, period.
I love that lifelong learning, right? Thank you, Ashley. One more person. Feel free to is it Vito?
Yep. It's veto. The insight that I gained was that regardless of kind of the pathways that we take, experience is what makes the biggest difference for all of us. And that sometimes a doctoral program is a way to give yourself that experience, but it's not the only way to get that experience.
Love that. That you can gain experience through the educational pathway, but there are alternative ways to get relevant experience too. Really depends on your own journey. Thank you, Vito. Well, thank you all for sharing those insights. I'm sure there are many more. And before we transition to our remaining part of the program, I just really want to take this time to thank our speakers for volunteering their time. Some of them, this is their lunch hour, volunteering their time to be with us today to share their own personal journeys and to give insight that will hopefully benefit your journey as well too. I think the fact that you are volunteering your time out of your busy schedules to help our students, our prospective students, our alumni really says something about your own commitment to education and supporting and lifting up others on their journey. So thank you again. All right, I would now love to turn it over to my colleague, Gary Younger. So Gary Younger is one of our enrollment officers, and I know there are some prospective students who are here today that are wanting to either learn about GSEP for the first time, or perhaps are on the in one of our master's program and are interested in a doctoral pathway. So Gary, if you could share a little bit more about how to follow up if anyone is interested in learning more. Gary?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I'm Gary Younger. I am the enrollment officer for two of our programs here, but the one that concerns our topic here today precisely is the PsyD program. My esteemed colleague Inva Lumi actually handles the 4 doctorate programs that we offer in education. And there she is. Both of us, our contact information can be found on our website, on any of the program site pages. Just simply scroll down to the bottom of the page where you'll find our images, our phone numbers, which is direct line, email address, and even a link to schedule an appointment where you'll find access to openings on our calendars, and we will call you on the date and time selected. So absolutely, please feel free to reach out to either of us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Inva. Thank you both for being here today. Okay. So now we'd like to share a little bit about some resources that might be helpful. So one of the questions that I would hear in different rooms is, how much does a doctoral degree, how much might that impact my earning potential? And so there are a number of ways that you can gather that information, but one resource that we want to highlight is PayScale, because it allows you to be able to find salary ranges based on your qualifications, based on position, based on geographic area. And so I'll just show you where you will find this. GSEP has an AI career toolkit with a number of different AI tools that are spotlighted so that you can get a quick demo on how to use them and how they might be relevant. And if you can see here, number 15 is the salary database and market value tool by PayScale. So this is an opportunity for you to find out salary ranges for what you're interested in, but also your market value based on the qualifications that you have and the position that you are in. So a link to the AI toolkit is in the chat, and I just wanted to highlight that one resource in particular. Okay, now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Usman, who will share a little bit more about our vision and supporting diversity, equity, inclusivity, and belonging, and to share some of the resources he selected that are relevant to today's topic. Usman?
Thank you. Yes, I work in career services as a career design counselor. Really happy to see everyone here. Our vision at career services is that every graduate will have the clarity, confidence, and community to access, thrive in, and transform our future workplace. As part of our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and our efforts, we're committed here to ensuring all of our students, alumni, including you, have access to our resources and services from an equitable lens, and to be able to foster a sense of community, belonging, and purpose for each of you while being able to honor each of your diverse backgrounds and identities. And as part of our resources today, we're sharing different ones we've highlighted. So we have the Association of Pan-African Doctoral Scholars, which is a professional organization that provides mentoring and fosters professional development for Pan-African students and scholars, including doctoral students. We've also featured a podcast that features various perspectives and stories to support women in grad school as well as persons of color. We also have the Pepperdine GSEP Financial Aid and Scholarships page, which you can go through at your own time when you're looking into different programs for prospective students and applying and seeing what it might be available. And we have also featured our reflective article in the Inside Higher Ed, which is advocating for how embracing your true self and authenticity can lead to greater life satisfaction and career fulfillment. And we have these featured in our participant shared Google Doc.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Usman. Thank you. All right, Nadine.
Yes, hi everybody. So we really appreciate and value your feedback, and we'd love if you would be willing to fill out a very short survey of your experience today. Like I said, we really take it into consideration. Franya has included a link in the chat. It will be via Handshake, so you just have to click the link. It takes just a couple minutes. And everybody who completes the survey is entered into an opportunity drawing for an Amazon gift card. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. And Stephanie, can you share a little bit about what's next?
Yes, as we briefly mentioned at the beginning of our session, this is the last Jammy session for this semester, but please stay tuned and keep an eye out on your emails as we will be doing this again in the spring, different format, a little bit of kind of what we did, some of the breakout rooms. So just stay tuned. We're going to continue to do more sessions that'll help us learn and grow together. And then lastly, GSEP is actually hiring here in career services. So I am a graduate assistant that recently got hired this semester. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me directly, but you can apply on Handshake, and we look forward to seeing hopefully some of you join our team.
Thank you, Stephanie. Sophia, can you share a little bit about opportunities for engaging with GSEP via social media?
Yes, thank you so much, Yaz. I invite all of you to follow us on social media. These are all of our channels, so you can get to know more events like this one. So we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and for our awesome alumni, we also have a dedicated LinkedIn group for you all. Thank you so much. And Frania put the links below. At this time, I want to invite you all for a Zoom group photo. So if you're able to, please go ahead and turn on your cameras, and we'll go ahead and take a selfie together to memorialize this event.
Okay, great. All right, so on the count of three, and if you're not comfortable, you can go off camera, but on the count of three, I'm going to ask you to pick an emoji that just reflects what you are feeling today. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. All right, let me get the next room. 1, 2, and 3. Great. Thank you all so much. Thank you again for being here today, for asking, for learning, and just for showing up. We hope to see you in the spring. Have a wonderful afternoon or evening. Thanks again.